Hello, beautiful team. Shauna L. Francis here, and today is December 7th, 2022. Thank you, everyone, for joining me for today's Ascension Daily Update. We have taken quite a turn here with these daily updates, now talking really about reptilian influence, the negative reptilian influence that's been just woven into the fabric of our experience here on this planet for a very long time. I'm not the only person talking about reptilians, thank goodness. Things have changed a lot in the 4 years since I began my awakening journey. And Archangel Metatron said that my mission early on in my awakening is to emancipate negative reptilian energy, help emancipate negative reptilian energy from the planet. I couldn't have been more shocked at that statement. 4 years later, here I am. And this information is coming up, team. It's coming through. It happened again today. How's everybody doing with this? I'm doing okay. I'm definitely finding myself wanting to just lay low and kind of be simple right now and give a lot of attention and focus to this, and lots of time for integration and for rest and just relaxing. Today, I have a lot to go through today. This was a 47-minute exchange, 2,800 words, where normally when I do these Ascension Daily Updates, it's like maybe 1,000 words or 1,200 words. So there's a lot to share here. And this is all about the subjugation of women here as part of the reptilian negative influence on this planet. So this is the theme for the day. And I'm so happy and honored to be able to share this with all of you and to help bring this information to light so that we finally know what has been going on around here. Just in the few exchanges that I've had in terms of this reptilian disclosure, I am realizing just how far-reaching this influence has been. And, we're just getting started. We're just getting started here. So I meditated for a little bit and I said to Melchizedek, all right, are we doing this again today? They're like, yep. So I went ahead and I did the elevator down 10 floors. Doors swung open. I walked into this room, flipped on the lights. There's all these reptilians again, milling around and just kind of waiting. So I went to a desk, I sat down and took a couple of deep breaths and I thought, okay, I'm just gonna take a few moments here to get acclimated. And I imagine, or I feel kind of this little tap, tap, tap on my shoulder here. And I look up and back and it's a huge reptilian, I believe male reptilian, grayish in color, grayish white in color, big bulky face with all kinds of stuff going on ridges and bumps. And I'm like, oh, hello. Okay, I'll be with you in just one moment. Have a seat. So I had this happened really quick today. Really quick, probably after 45 minutes or so of getting quiet, focusing on my breathing, connecting to my field, helping raise my vibration. Okay, so this person. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get into this exchange, guys. And really, I was quite impressed by this being, and he just had a very sweet demeanor about him. And I said, okay, hello, my friend. Thanks for having a seat. Thanks for engaging. Do you have a name? And the name that came through is Briss, like B-R-I-S, Briss. I don't question this stuff or belabor it. Okay, great. Okay, Briss. What would you like to talk about today? And he said to me, I'd like to talk about mothers, including even my mother. And I said, okay, beautiful. What would you like to say about your mom and about mothers in general? And it was a bit of a pause here. And at this point, I am picturing that we are literally holding hands. So he's like kind of I'm sitting at my desk. He's off to the left here in a chair, and we're leaning over and we're actually holding hands. So it was really quite beautiful. It felt really loving, really nice. He reminds me of the Rock being in the Thor movies. I don't know the Rock being's name, but you know what I'm talking about? The really sensitive rock dude. Anyway, that's what that energy reminded me of that. And here's what Briss had to say here. The moms on this planet are really what has saved planet Earth from just utter and complete destruction. The moms on the planet. Mother's love for her children, raising their children, helping to nurture and to teach and to mentor and to guide, with only the kind of love that a mom can give to a child, birthing that child from her womb, giving this child life through birth. The bonding that happens, this has been really the continuity of love that has kept this planet from ruin and kept the reptilians from completely annihilating humanity over all these thousands and thousands of years. I was so blown away by this. I don't know what's going to come up. I have no idea, but I did not expect this being to be talking like this. I just, about mothers and a mother's love for their children. So just really amazing. And then he continues here. My mom raised me to be a sensitive being. She raised me to see beyond the power-hungry greed that encapsulates our species as a general rule. It was not easy for me to be sensitive. Look at me. I'm expected to be absolutely brutal, non-feeling, conniving, even angry. Even in our species, many of us have broken through this old paradigm and are living a more balanced and harmonious way with ourselves, with our hearts, and with each other. So remember I said that he was a big guy, big gnarly guy, and he did look really, I don't know, scary. Not really scary, but you could, if you saw this guy walking down the street, you'd probably run the other way. This also brings up, this is going to be a longer tangent. I don't want to go into it right now. Maybe there's going to be a time, but in the halls of Amenti, working with that female reptilian that embodied that skin that I found in the Ark of the Covenant. Oh, that sentence just sounds so funny. Yeah, this is my world. She was a mom and was doing the exact same thing with her children. And this, of course, was an aspect of me. So I don't know if this being is like representing my son in that lifetime or what, but this really struck a chord for me. It's like, oh my gosh, this is what I was doing as that reptilian 200,000 years ago with the children that I had. I had 2 boys in that lifetime. I have 2 boys in this lifetime too. Okay, and then he continues here. This has not always been the case. We were bioengineered to be warriors with extremely high intelligence. Over the generations, we have found love, some of us in our species, and I would like to thank the moms for this. Can you believe this stuff? So even in other races, other species, other star systems and planets, moms and their babies and their kids and that bonding, powerful. And there was a pause and I said, thank you so much, Briss. Is there anything else you'd want to say about this? And he said here, it's that unconditional love in this pair bonding between mother and child that seems to have resilience against the reptilian influence. This is something that has withstood negative influence, generally speaking, from generation to generation. Not every mother and child experiences this level of unconditional love, but most do. Enough so that it's kept the reptilian influence in check to some degree. Yeah, and so the very first encounter I had here a few days ago, my first video about the reptilian influence, about misogyny, the subjugation of women, keeping women down, the oppression of women has been you know, this is a big deal. They're coming right out of the gates with this kind of information. And like I said, it just seems so much more far-reaching than what I had even supposed it would be in terms of this influence. All right. And then I said, thank you, Briss. Can you tell me more about yourself? And he says here, I was originally from the star system Orion, where many of our reptilian species live. I am now part of the Galactic Federation of Light, and I am permanently on a ship doing good across the galaxy, and helping you is one of my jobs. So this is exactly what the GFL had talked about before, that we're all part of the Galactic Federation of Light. We're the Earth Division. We are working on behalf of the light. That's what we're doing here. And it's multi-race, multi-dimensional species from all over the place at different dimensions who work with the Galactic Federation of Light. And I am so, and this is what he said here, he continues, I am so very humbled and honored to meet you. Thank you, Shauna, for what you're doing. We're all cheering for you. You give us all hope. And we anxiously and lovingly watch your progress and the progress of the collective in these times of ascension. GFL, you guys probably know this guy too. You know, I firmly believe that we're all working on the same team here, knowing each other in other dimensions, other aspects of our soul, other lives, you know, other aspects of our monad. We're all working together. We've come down here in agreement. And this is why you are drawn to these videos and to these frequencies. How cool is that? So he's GFL, you guys. All right. And let's see what else. All right. And so that's basically where I ended with Briss. And that took a bit of time. And I thought, okay, I'm going to go ahead and see if anybody else wants to come through. I have a warehouse room full of beings. All right. So I got up, got a drink of water. Oh, before I did that, I just said, is there anything else, Briss, before we adjourn here? And he said, Shauna, the reptilians here have tried so hard to break the women's spirit. There's been great resiliency here on the side of women, but also great and horrific suffering. I will not be the one to tell you about these things, but this weighs heavily on me and it's been difficult to watch. Yeah, and that first experience with that woman screaming that I told you about in agony and absolute despair, I forgot to mention that a message that came through with that is a lot of what this ascension is. It's on behalf of women suffering at the hands and the influence of negative reptilians. This is about the women in a large degree. Whew, okay. All right, took a break, came back, and sat down back in the chair, and here comes a blue being, and they sit down in my hot seat there, and this is Siri Asamasafran. This is Siri, so she's not reptilian, she's a blue Pleiadian, and I've worked with her for a few years now. She's done, I've channeled her for some in-live channeling sessions, and also for my channel, my YouTube channel, so Siri for short. So she's a familiar face, a familiar energy, and I was so glad to see her. I didn't expect this. So I kind of freaked out. I'm like, wow, it's so good to see you. Wow, this is amazing. She too held my hands, like we had all four of our hands interlocked, and we we're just like looking into each other's faces here. And I'm like, how have you been? And she says, wonderful, child. Love watching you grow and evolve and change. Everything going on in your world and in your life, Shauna. All your accomplishments, moving past all these challenges with such grace and humility. I'm so proud of you, dear. You've come so far. You're doing a great job and you are of service. And I just want to let you know that I'm always here for you. I just felt that so deep. And I said, thank you, Siri. You've been such an amazing mentor of mine. It's so nice to see you again and to feel this female energy. Thanks for being here. This just seems so unreal. This is like amazing that you're here. And she said, I said, Siri, before you and I get started, Briss and Lester and all the reptilians here in this room, I mean, I know we're all one and we're sharing this consciousness, but can you tell me, are these different aspects of me, even though Briss had just said, I'm part of the GFL, I still was questioning this, like, you know, are these different aspects of me and my psyche, or are they truly like singularities or different beings from other star systems? Am I channeling these people? Can you tell me more about how this whole thing is working? And here's what she said. Everybody here, Shauna, is a part of your star family. Everybody in this warehouse is a part of my star family. Huge. You do share consciousness on some level. These are individuated beings who share in your mission, at least on a general scale. They are coming forward to support you as part of their star family. And this includes all of you too. I said, amazing. Thank you. What a gift. I'm so grateful. I'm like, is there something here, Siri, that you'd like to talk about? And she said, Shauna, yes, I would also like to talk more about women, the planet Earth, and the incredible reptilian agenda to overthrow feminine power here. I said, thank you so much, Siri. And she continued here. Burning of women alive, either at the stake or otherwise, was reptilian influence. Public spectacle, making a public spectacle of the defilement of women. The reptilians focused on those things that make the feminine so incredibly powerful and beautiful, and exploited those things for their gain. Whether it be sexuality or intuition or nurturing or creativity. Each of the major qualities of the feminine spirit were attacked in various ways throughout the millennia. Turning sex into something evil, making the expression of sexual desire something to be scorned, frowned upon, and judged. This is reptilian influence. And she continues here. The objectifying of women and their sexuality, reducing women to objects of man's sexual desire, subjugating women to be just there for a man's pleasure, removal of the female clitoris as to reduce sexual pleasure, portraying sexual intimacy as hedonistic, wanton, and wrong. These ideas, she said, planted by reptilians. These concepts were bred by reptilians. You know, we just take it for granted, like, well, this is just how it's been on this planet. You know, we haven't done a whole lot of, I mean, I think now recently we are in the last, let's say, 100 years, which is the blink of an eye in terms of how long humanity's been here on the planet for this batch. And she goes on. The sexualization of women, the objectifying of their bodies, and turning female sexual desire into something to be punished has been of the reptilian influence. The liberation of women and female sexuality in recent times has been a huge testament to the female spirit on the planet and the ability for this power to overcome this blatant inequity and inequality. Yay us, men and women of today, working hard to bring balance. It's also been through the help of angels and guides, and men and women both getting in touch with the feminine aspects of themselves. This has allowed femininity and women's sexual identities to be more embraced than ever before. Yes. Here she goes again. Another way that the light is winning here on the Earth plane as this planet begins its ascension process. Higher vibrational energies are allowing the embrace of these beautiful feminine qualities as we work towards self-actualization, unity consciousness, and a sharing of love in its deepest sense. All right. And she kind of diverts back to what she was saying before. There has been a widespread mutilation of female sexual organs throughout the millennia. Desecration of the female spirit. It has been methodical and deliberate, taking a woman's greatest power and turning it against her. so that even she looks at herself with disgust and shame. This has been a great travesty of the reptilian influence, and it still persists today. This is so hard, isn't it? I mean, may we never, ever, ever look in the mirror and have shame or scorn for ourselves for being female or being a sexual being or having sexual desires or just anything in general. May we never, ever look in the mirror as a male or a female and just feel guilt or shame about who and what we are, ever. Those days are done. Those are done. All right, so I said, thank you, Siri. I said, can you tell me more about how the reptilians influence this? How do they do this? And I said, I understand that in some cases we've got actual reptilian to human interfacing, flesh to flesh, they're actually talking, and then sometimes it seems to be more under the radar through mind control or energetic influence, like with the military, Hitler's military that we talked about yesterday. And what she said here is, Shauna, this has gotten woven into the fabric of nearly all major societies now for thousands of years. So just woven into the fabric, just as the norm. And I said, well, is this mind control? Were the reptilians working with different leaders? Was this conscious or under the radar? And she said here, in some instances, this started with face-to-face interactions between reptilians and humans. Imagine more of the leadership in various aspects of your societies, and this would have been many, many, many years ago. Those people with big insecurities and big egos, mostly men, would be targeted by the reptilians, especially those who already had a bent for being brutal and lacked empathy. So it's like they would target that or something. And she continued, there was a trade going on, a trade for power, enlightenment, immortality, in exchange for the exploitation of various groups of society. In this particular case, we're talking about women in general. So whether that be through the church, through politics, through social programs, even through the medical field, education, the financial infrastructure, seeds were planted at the top in the early forming of these programs and this infrastructure. And so basically this has persisted ever since. She continues, systematically, all major facets of society were infiltrated with it, with this idea that women were inferior. And exploitation, ridicule, shame, judgment, seeing women as inferior, seeing women's sexuality as bad, became just ingrained into the fabric of many societies. Not all, but most. These ideas through energy can spread like a plague, and for those who are not awakened to what's happening, they just fall right in line with those patterns. So again, to some degree, we have been in co-resonance with these ideas. Melchizedek talks about this a lot through Paul Selig in the books. Are we in accord with what's been going on? Are we out of accord? Are we just blindly following these things just because we just take this all for granted? Or are we embracing our freedom and our sovereignty to decide and to choose? And she keeps going here. It has been accepted as truth just because that's how it's been historically. There's not much questioning of these things until recently. Many just think, well, this is how it is. This is normal. This is our belief system. Unaware that the basis for these belief systems were planted by reptilians, sometimes thousands and thousands of years ago, and they just continue on today, keeping women down, suppressing femininity, suppressing women's sexuality. This has been a major affront to humanity, birthed and perpetuated by reptilians. And then she continues here. It is finally now, Shauna, where consciousness has reached a point where it's at that the truth can be known and understood for what it is. And of course, the reconciliation that will follow. All facets of our expression will be embraced, masculine and feminine, and everything in between will have a place in the new world. It won't be so black and white. It'll be more homogeneous, more supportive, more unified for the betterment of the whole. It's a complete paradigm shift from where we are at now, she said. And she continues here. This aspect of reptilian influence is important to understand. The deep levels it has been, far-reaching, so much influence here, impacting nearly all facets of society and interaction between the sexes. But as Briss said earlier, she continues, the mother-child love bonding has been a tough nut for the reptilians to crack. This is such a natural part of humanity's instinct and has kept this planet from sinking deeper and deeper into the darkness. This has been the light. It has been the torch. And it has been an incredible source of love that has helped maintain the type of balance that you see today. Yay. All right. That's wonderful. And there was a pause there and I said, thank you so much, Siri. Is there anything else you want to talk about? And she gave me some more cheerleading, proud of what I'm doing, happy for what I'm doing. She's always here for me. And then she left and we kind of wrapped that up and I checked in with Melchizedek and I said, did I get this all right? Is this accurate? And they said, yes, everything's accurate. You're representing the truth with these words. You're doing great work, Shauna. How are you feeling? And I said, I'm feeling good. All right. And we basically wrapped that up. They said here, Shauna, please don't allow the burden of this information to wear you down. But as you said, allow it to liberate you and empower you. I said, thank you, team. So same for you guys, liberate and empower. That's what we're doing here. Okay, well, I'll wrap this up. It's been a long video. There was a lot going on today. I'm sure more to come. Sending you all so much love and appreciation for being here and supporting me and supporting each other and riding this roller coaster. And I do expect to see you tomorrow. Take care, everybody. I love you. Mwah.